The next thing we have written down is any personal experiences dealing with men in motorsport. This is regarding in real life and online. Personally, I've had a lot between the two. My main experience, I'm not going to name names because I'm not like that. Regarding a close friend of mine, like a friendship of 10 years, I'd like to point out here. This is regarding the Alex Albon and the Lewis Hamilton situation this year. So you know the same incident that happened in Brazil happened this year, right? Personally, as I said earlier, I'm a George Russell fan, right? George Russell is my favourite driver in the grid, and I'm a McLaren girl. I support McLaren as a team. I'm non-biased to pretty much the rest of the grid. There's not a driver out there that I hate. There are drivers that I don't like. Actually, no. A couple of drivers that I don't like. But Lewis Hamilton is not a driver that I don't like. I love Lewis Hamilton as a driver. I think he's an incredible driver. I also love Alex Albon. I think Alex Albon is an incredible driver. But no matter if someone is my favourite driver or not, if I think they've done wrong, I'll admit, yeah, they've done wrong, they messed up. That should have been like this, if they didn't get penalised correctly. So, and I personally saw, I don't know about any of you, but the Alex Albon, Lewis Hamilton thing that took Alex Albon out of the race was a driving incident. Not a driving incident, was Lewis Hamilton's fault. There we go. Lewis Hamilton was at fault. He received the exact same penalty that he received in Brazil for the exact same incident. And I thought that was fair. And I made the comment on on Twitter, that I thought that was fair. And that, you know, are we going to get as a joke, I made a joke that are we going to get a three-peat of that? Because, you know, it happened once, happened again. Alex Albon better watch his back if Lewis Hamilton's behind him, right? Joke. A friend of mine, for 10 years, I am very willing to have, like, adult conversations with people regarding motorsport. Because I'm an adult. And I understand the ins and outs of motorsport. And they were adamant that Lewis Hamilton had done no wrong. It was a racing incident. And then it got to a point where he was saying that it was Alex Albon's fault. And I was like, no, I personally see it as Lewis's fault. Lewis was in the wrong in the situation. And then he started to proceed that it was only because I like Alex Albon that I'm saying this and that I hate Lewis Hamilton. I was like, I've never once said that. And then he turned around and was like, well, but you said you wanted Max Verstappen to win the race. Yes, because I think Max Verstappen's a great driver. I think he is one of the most talented drivers on the grid, if not the most talented driver on the grid. If he was in a Mercedes, he would probably lap the grid more times than Lewis Hamilton has.
Yeah, so would Grosjean.
I'm not making any comment on that statement.
I was like, oh my.
And it got to the point where he was arguing back and forward at me, and I was like, I'm not going to have this conversation with you if you're going to just try and tell me that I don't know what I'm talking about regarding motorsport. And he was telling me the only reason I was saying this was purely for the reason that I liked Alex Albon. And I'm like, he's not my favourite driver on the grid, but I do like him as a driver, and I think he does deserve the Red Bull seat, personally. And to the point that he blocked me, and not just blocked me on Twitter, but blocked me on everything. Blocked my number, blocked me on Snapchat, blocked me on Instagram, blocked me on Twitter, everything. And that was a friendship of 10 years he was willing to give up because he was convinced that I knew nothing about motorsport and he knew everything, and I was only supporting Alex Albon because I thought Alex Albon was attractive.
I hate that.
Like, the fact that there's people that are willing to give up full-blown friendships because they don't agree on something is just weird to me.
But it's such a weird thing. Like, that was it. Like, that's what made you give up the friendship? God help us if something, significant happened.
Yeah, out of everything that could have possibly happened, the fact that you thought Hamilton was in the wrong, that's what was like, yeah, no, can't be friends with you no more. Oh my god, that's the worst thing you've ever done.
That's it.
Like,
I think Lewis Hamilton's in the wrong. Lewis Hamilton thinks Lewis Hamilton's in the wrong. The FIA think Lewis Hamilton's in the wrong. You don't.
Who else?
So why am I the problem? Like,
do you need Alex Albon to go? No, it's alright, mate. I had it coming.
Yeah, Alex was like, well, I shouldn't have been in front of you. That was my mistake. I'm so sorry. Like,
my bad.
I just nearly fell off my chair. Any other personal or online experiences from anyone?
Hang on. I need to charge my laptop.
While Jess is charging, anyone?
I don't really like to engage in arguments. I'm not very good in argument. Sometimes I can be fine. Other times I'm like hiding in the corner, like, please stop yelling. But if I see something that, especially to somebody I'm friends with, and I'm just like, no, you're incorrect, and that's not okay. I more engage on people that are being sexist rather than people that just have an opinion, because it's like everyone's allowed their opinion. When you start going, but you're a woman, I'm like, okay, now this is where we have a problem, because that doesn't matter. I'm not stood here going, you're a man, that's why you think that, so why do you get to do it to me? So I've only done it, I think, like once or twice. I don't know. One of the times I was on Jess's side, I felt bad. Jess was being attacked, and I was like, absolutely not. This is incorrect information. I will come for your neck.
But it's so weird, because everyone in my school knows that I generally really like watching, supporting drivers and stuff. But then people on like Twitter who are like, what, 10, 20 years older think they have a better opinion. I'm thinking like, I don't know anything. And I'm like, what does that have to do with me being female?
It's
I
just
think age
keyboard
can be a factor either.
No,
Well,
there's
that's
people
true,
that have
it's
been
like-
watching for like 20 years who know so much less than someone that's been watching for 4 months.
yeah.
So age
Like-
means nothing.
Like, I've only been watching for a year and a half, and I know what I call just enough to be dangerous. And and I'm like 15 years older than Jess, and Jess will just, and Jenny too, will just rattle off facts, and I'll be like, how do you remember?
Gonna have to bleep that one.
I caught myself, kinda, barely. You said no swearing, and I was like, but they know so much more than I do. And when they start talking, sometimes I'm just like, God, I don't know, what are they talking about? And I'll just sit there. So it is like, age shouldn't be a factor. Gender shouldn't be a factor. And I feel like sometimes, I know for me personally, as a woman who likes motorsport, I feel like in order for a man to take me serious, or some men to take me seriously, I need to know more than them. They won't take me seriously unless I show them that I know more than them. It's like, I shouldn't have to prove myself to you.
Yeah.
That's not the point
Yeah,
of all
see,
this. I shouldn't...
My problem with that is, like, my dad's been watching F1 on and off for years, like, way before I was born and everything. Yet this is a man in his 50s that has been watching for so long, that still asks me, who's been watching since, like, 2015, like, properly watching since 2015, about, like, not just about, like, when the races are and what drivers are doing what, but, like, about certain things, like the technical rules, like the changes in the rules and stuff. And I'm like, I'm his daughter that's been watching less than him, and I'm female, and he still asks me.
Yeah.
Why is gender and age a problem?
Like, Jess
Well, and then
is,
it doesn't-
6 years younger than me? And I will still go to Jess. If I'm like, I don't know what this is technically, I'll go to Jess and ask her. But like, Jess, can you
Yeah.
explain this to me? And Jess is like, yeah, sure. I want to reel off a ton of information. Like I said to her, I was like, I don't really understand. I'm not really grasping the aspect of Formula E. And she was like, that's fine. Sent me a big old paragraph and everything explaining every single aspect that I would need to know about Formula E. And I was like, you know, this is a teenager assisting me, a grown-ass adult. And like, I'm fine with that. But if I was a male in this situation, God forbid would a male in any situation ask, you know, a 15-year-old girl about a sport technically. Because they wouldn't be able to, like, you know, damage their ego.
Minus my dad.
Minus your dad. There
Yeah.
are some good men. Obviously not all men. Specify that we are never generalizing all men in this scenarios.
Like, when I first started watching, Gabby, our dear Gabby, who couldn't
We
be
love
with
you,
us
Gabby.
today. Gabby is my fellow American. And she's younger than me. Well, everybody's younger than me. But she would be looking at, like, we'd be watching, like we used to, for the races we can watch, like, we can both be up at the same time for, we'll, like, text back and forth. Or we'll, you know, rap or have a debrief, quote unquote, after the race. And last year, she started reeling off like, strategy. Just about Charles Leclerc. And, like, oh, he was slow in this sector, but faster in this sector, which is why they put him on these tires, and I would have put him on these tires. And then when I watched the race, they freaking did it! I was just like, this is like a 20-year-old girl who's helping me go, no, so, and then I was like, well, why would they do that? And then she spent and sent me, like, paragraphs of why they would, like, just sent you. And I was just like, she didn't have to do that. But she realized that I like the sport and she likes it too, so she's like, oh, here, let me help you out.
But it's like with our dear friend Josh, we all love and appreciate Josh. He had never watched any sort of motorsport before. We
kind of almost forced it upon him in a way.
Yeah, he became friends with all of us, and we were like, you have to watch it. And before he watched it, it was literally the Thursday, and he was like, well, what should I be watching this weekend? It's my first weekend. What should I be watching? He was like, without overdoing it. So I sent him, and I was like, right, you should probably watch, like, if you want, like, a feel into Formula 1, I was like, watch one of the practices. I'd recommend practice 3. I was like, watch your qualifying and watch your race. And then for Formula 2, Formula 3, all you really need is the qualifying and the 2 races for both of them. Without, like, overdoing it. And he was like, right, but I don't really understand what's going to be happening. He was like, can you help me? And I was like, is this a man asking me for help regarding motorsport? Because I normally get shut down and told that I know nothing. Like, I was like, yeah,
Josh
sure.
is a rare breed.
And I said so
He's
much.
a rare breed.
Another rare breed, Geordie, our lovely Geordie. If he has any, like, thing where he's like, I'm not entirely sure of this, he'll happily ask any of us. And if he sees that any of us are getting, like, attacked on twitter.com regarding being females in motorsport, he will stand up for us. And he doesn't care if, like, another man in motorsport is like, well, you only like them because you're, like, they're women. Because he's like, no, because they're actually smart people who love and appreciate a sport for what it is. Like, if you said to me, what happened in turn 4 in bloody Spain? No, not turn 4 in Spain. Anything but turn 4 in Spain. I know exactly what happened in turn 4
I know
in Spain.
exactly what you're on about.
No. I could not tell you what turn 4 is. I could not tell you what it looks like or where it is. Anything on a track, I would not be able to pinpoint a track.
I know someone that can tell you what that looks like.
Yeah, so do I.
This is an attack. Turn 4 in Spain is just gone. Out the window. Out the window. Traumatizing. I was willing to turn off the TV after that one moment. But
She was yelling.
I could not tell you anything about a racetrack. And I would literally ask anyone, like, oh, like, someone would be like, oh, what happened in this turn? And I'm like, I don't know, because I don't know what turn that is. I could not tell you what a track looks like. And that's fine, because I don't have to know what every single track looks like, or what every turn is, or corner, or anything.
Not racing around it.
All I know is the cars are going fast, and I'm enjoying watching the cars go fast. And I know that, oh, they can't go off that corner, because there's a sausage curb. Sausage curb doesn't need to be banned, but
We don't need to talk about those.
Is another story. But
Right, it should be banned.
the amount of people that tell me that I'm not a motorsport fan because I don't know what the tracks look like off the top of my head, it's unbelievable. Like, I could tell you for a fact that probably half of them drivers would not be able to tell you what the track looks like. Like, if you gave them a
shown
photo,
it, like, all their PR
draw
videos.
track.
yeah, all their PR videos, they're like,
they-
draw this track, and they're like,
Huh?
Even they have to guess a track, and you're like,
Yeah, you mean the track that
I
we're
don't
going to
like
this
them.
week?
yeah, come on, we just raced around here. I haven't a clue.
Yeah, Josh. Maybe they might get Silverstone, might get Spa, maybe.
maybe.
But anything
It's
else,
very clever.
draw Paul Ricard for me, huh?
Which one? Which?
Yeah. Do I need to include those god awful the rumble lines that they put out, like the
Yeah.
strips, the painted
You
strips?
need the
I'm
blue
like,
and red and yellow.
There's like so many different circuit layouts at Paul Ricard, and you're
Yeah.
like, which one do you
Why?
want?
Did you?
I get lost.
I swear that they just took a parking lot and went, you know what? Just get us a
We'll
load
get
of red
busy, right?
paint and blue paint. We'll figure it out.
many arrows on the track, please, because I don't know which way they're going after this.
I saw my mum was talking about it. She's like, I don't know what to do, and I was like, I'd get lost, and then my dad went, you get lost going to like town, and I was like, fair point. I'd have no chance. I get lost driving to Alice's house. I asked her the other day if I could go down this street, and I've driven down that street God knows how many times.
Yeah.
It's like, can I go down here? And she's like, yes, Molly.
I was like,
So if you put me on a circuit, I have a clue where I'm going. I couldn't even walk around it. I'd get lost walking.
oh no. Does anybody
It's too
have
difficult.
any other personal experiences they wish to talk about before I head to the Twitter threads?
Oh dear God.
I only have
Had
one
Twitter is
a,
one of my problems.
experience at school, like a few years back. It's quite a while ago now. I must have been in like year 11 or year 12. There was this guy I went to school with, and he was, say, into F1. It was like he's a Lewis Hamilton fan, not F1 fan. He doesn't really know a huge amount about the sport, doesn't really know any of the technical stuff, and he'll tell you he doesn't know much of the technical stuff either. I'm not just saying that, like, he knows he doesn't. And we were talking about the Red Bull engines, and this was when they had the Renault engines and everything was going really wrong. There were so many DNFs, and he kept saying that I think he was saying they had a Ferrari engine. And I was like, no, it's a Renault engine. And he was convinced. He was telling me, he was like, no, it's a Ferrari. I can't remember if this was, he was saying, it was either that or Mercedes. I think it was Ferrari he was saying. And he just kept going on about it. And I was like, I'm telling you now, it's a Renault engine. He was like, how would you know though? Like, do you even know any of the technical stuff? And it's like he assumed I didn't know any of the technical stuff just because I'm a girl. He was like, yeah, but clearly you haven't been watching it that long. And I was like, I can tell you now, I've definitely been watching it longer than you have. And like, it was this whole full-blown argument. And I was like, just Google it then. If you don't believe me, that's fine. You can Google it, and proved him wrong. I was like, oh, okay. And now he won't underestimate how much I know about Formula One. And he'll often come to me now for like technical stuff if he needs to know. So
I had a teacher ask. I told him that I was into F1, and he said, "Oh, is your favourite driver Hamilton? I know he's quite good looking." That one was nice.
All just collectively release a sigh, and I'm just like, oh, God's sake.
not again. I feel like most people have had that one. Or is Lewis Hamilton your favourite because he's British? Like, you don't know anything about any of the other drivers. Like,
I'm gonna be honest.
Jesus.
Great driver, but I don't rate him as a person.
I'm the opposite.
Can't say I know him personally.
No, but like some stuff that he says and how he acts sometimes at the races and stuff, I'm a little bit like if he's not doing well, he talks like he doesn't want to be there, and then I'm like, yeah, but you've got drivers like George Russell who's bigging up every little bit of that car that he can find.
The man
Yet you're in a winning car.
Excited. I love
Exactly, and I'm like, you're in a winning car, you come third, and you're crying like a baby. Like, it's things like that that really aggravate me with him. But like, amazing driver, but I don't care what nationality he is or anything.
I can tell you now, my favourite driver is not British.
No.
Well, but...
No, am I correct in saying that they're the only American in the Formula Series is Logan Sargent in F3? Am I correct in saying that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so there's not a lot of choice for me among
Who
countrymen.
else?
Cameron Dass.
Cameron Dass.
I was just about to say, I was like, wait.
Oh, yeah.
So two. I got
Cameron
two.
Dass, we are so sorry. We didn't
Apologies.
forget you,
We
we just thought you were
apologise.
American. See?
But,
Yeah,
sorry,
so we got
Cameron,
Canadian.
my bad.
We love you, Cameron.
I mean,
Dass.
like, yeah, we do have our friends to the north, and then I guess Sergio Perez is in Mexico, so, and then we have Latifi and Stroll. Yeah, I forgot it. I can't think if there's any other
I
Canadian.
don't think it's
You have your
Stroll.
American team, but
Dorothy will be upset.
there's no American drivers in Formula E either, is there?
I don't think so.
Couldn't tell you.
No.
My country doesn't really do the whole
No.
right turn thing. We're not huge fans of right turns, despite the
The
fact that
whole right
51% of all turns are right.
I don't think
Great
if there has
circle.
ever been.
Greater circles.
Oval
Well, you've got
TV.
Dragon, who's American team, and you've got Andretti, who's an American. But that's about it.
Yeah.
Haas is technically an American. Oh, and I guess Haas is technically an American team.
And Williams has now got connections to, well, have been bought by
An
American.
An
They've been
American
bought by an
company.
American investment
American-
company.
Investment company, yeah.
But
So does this mean it's still a British team because
It's
it
still a
originated
They're
in
keeping
Britain,
all of the
or
Heritage
Sorry.
and,
territory?
Thank you.
Heritage.
the heritage.
well, it's like Red Bull is based in Milton Keynes, which is in the UK, but they're
Mhm.
owned by Red Bull, which is in Austria. So,
Which is-
but they're
yeah.
still technically a
So they have
British
yeah.
team.
Yeah, like it's the same with McLaren. I guess they have like ties to Bahrain. I think it is.
The Crown Prince. It's
Yeah, so
their
they
like
have
CEO.
ties to Bahrain. So they class Bahrain as a home track as well. So I guess you get teams like that kind of do a bit of both.
I love how off topic we were.
they're
We're
like
let's
dual
discuss
Yeah.
dual
Yeah,
country.
we got distracted.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I love a little
Sorry.
tangent. I love a tangent. They're one of my favourites.
My
I'm
fault.
scared about the Twitter threads.
Oh, well,
Massively.
did you
The
want to talk
Twitter
about
threads.
the Twitter thread? Because I got a tweet up on my screen right now which says, "People insulting Dan Ticktum annoy me. That man is talented 100%. He almost won a few championships and already won a race this year. If you say he isn't, then how has he achieved them? Sure, he may have his downsides, but you can't deny that he is an incredible driver." The backstory for anyone that's watching that doesn't know when the regarding of this was when Dan Ticktum's radio message was put on blast, which I'm not going to get into the conversation of Dan Ticktum and that situation because that
That's a
would
whole
be a
other
very
podcast.
long, yeah, we can do a whole podcast about that. But there is a whole section on our website if you want to read about that. I'll leave the link to that exact post in the description if you do want to read about that. But one of Dan Ticktum's radio messages got completely taken out of context, and then it was a lot of drama. So this was the lovely Jess's tweet. And Dan Ticktum did go ahead and obviously speak about it, but this one tweet did bring a lot of drama regarding men saying that women know nothing.
Yeah.
So I'm going to go down this thread first because the other thread has quite a lot more, which involves Jenny and Molly. But one of the tweet replies to this tweet was, "I have noticed a lot of casual women, yep, on Formula One lately, when they have no idea what they're talking about. Are you women the outcasts of your usual groups, so you look for attention elsewhere?"
I hate that so
I was like, well, if you realise you're watching, it's actually F2, get it right.
Dan Ticktum's already in Formula One. Why did nobody tell me? Oh yeah, Jess
Yeah.
replied, "This
Okay.
is F2, not F1. Yeah,
Pretty good.
that is like that whole tweet in general is the stuff that like women deal with every day in motorsport. Like the whole tweet generalizes that it's saying that
See.
women know nothing about motorsport and that we're only watching Formula One for attention. I personally do not
yeah,
want
but it's
attention regarding it.
casual, but like
Casual.
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 Casual women.
Casual women. Not motorsport
Yeah.
fans. Casual women.
Casual women.
And what do
I
you
like
mean by
wearing
casual?
clothes. Thank you for
It's
asking.
an interesting word choice. Like, oh, we're so casual. All we wear is leggings and t-shirts. Like, what do you mean by
I feel
casual?
attacked.
man?
That's currently what I'm wearing.
I'm wearing
I-
jeans. I'm a
I
bad
Get
bleep.
it? As I'm currently wearing, the only reason I'm not wearing like some rando t-shirt is because I wanted to dress up a bit. So this is dressing up for me now. But it's like casual. I was like, casual is dangerously close to loose, sir. So that would have been my question. What do you mean casual? Such an interesting word choice. Let's
What
talk about that.
is Casual.
Casual.
What is the definition
Casual.
of casual? Casual definition.
You know what,
I
this
just
is
want the Google Dad.
Understand me here. When I think of casual, I just think of the first outfit choice you do on The Sims.
The adjective is relaxed and
everyday
unconcerned. So apparently we are relaxed and unconcerned. Relaxed and
Wow.
unconcerned women discussing motorsport.
Love that description.
A person who does something
You
irregularly
should've
is
just-
also
yes,
another
you
word for
should've just
casual.
replied with the CTS link. Just replied with that. Like, yes, I am a casual woman watching motorsport.
Yeah.
But yeah, the noun for it is a person who does something irregularly. So they're trying to say that we don't regularly watch motorsport.
Oh, I don't actually wake
No.
up every watch it.
Damn it, what have I been doing for the last
I
5
definitely
months?
don't plan my entire weekend against a race
I don't
schedule.
I
spend
get
2
annoyed
days
every
right.
time I have to work on a Saturday morning.
I was stressed and upset last year for Abu Dhabi because I was out and I wanted to watch the Formula 2 race, that I bought myself more 4G so that I could watch it in the car. I watched it. I ignored everyone else. I put my headphones in and I watched it. And my friends were like, why? And I'm like, look, I've come out with you for the day. Just appreciate that part. Like, this part is now me I want to watch because I want to be able to go on Twitter. Like, I want to be able to go on Twitter and I can't because I don't want it to be ruined for me and I enjoy watching it. And I was just sat in the seat. I was like, yeah,
Links
go,
I
Louis,
go
go! And then I cried,
Usually
but that
if
doesn't matter.
If we've gone out and we know we've left this F1 channel on the telly when we've turned it off, me and my dad
that's
send my mum
cool.
to turn the telly on, mute it, and then change the channel so we can then go bring up the recording.
That gave
Links
me
that I go through.
such severe PTSD as when I was coming home to watch Formula 1 the other day from work. Was it the race that
It was
Daniel...
the Formula 3 race.
No.
Formula 2 race.
No, it was Daniel Kvyat. I was coming home to watch Formula 2.
Was it?
I was coming home to watch the races from the... I think it must have been the Sunday races. And I turned on, forgetting that it was Sunday race, because I remember I'd watched Formula 3, because I could fit that in before work, because it's at 8 o'clock in the morning, 8:30 in the morning. And I turned...
Oh, it was because it was a race replay.
Yeah, and I turned on the TV, ready to watch Formula 2 and Formula 1, and the race replays were on. And I turned it on to Daniel Kvyat going into the barrier and then just chilling there, and I was like, Kelsey, why is Kvyat in the barrier?
Yeah. And I was like, Alice, turn it off!
No. So another fun one underneath this was no one is denying that Dan doesn't have talent, but his emotions are blocking his judgment. Sometimes the guy just needs to use his head sometimes. If he did deliberately choose to crash into someone, that could be seen as attempted murder. The sport is dangerous. He is a danger. Which, obviously, the conversation of Dan Tickton will be another thing. But this did spark a lot of, like, excess stuff. So
This branched out to 2 conversation, 1 thread.
So then someone replied to that saying, what do you mean if? He has done that before. He got banned for 2 years for it. So then Jess goes and puts, 1, that was when he was 16, 5 years ago. Maturity grows when you're older. Second, Second, it was 1 year with warning for the second year. Besides, he knows fully well the consequences and the scale of immaturity if he did purposely crash, but fortunately, it was not in his plans. So the response to that was, I hope you're ready, ladies. Sounds like he has grown up lots. Don't be a blind fangirl. Prove you know more about the sport than following the pretty boys.
Yay!
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 Pretty boys!
And we go back in circles.
I love pretty boys. First of all, the term fangirl. Like, okay.
That's a
I
whole
get
nother.
it.
Absolutely, yeah.
Personally, I don't enjoy being called a fangirl, especially when it comes to motorsport. Like, in some instances, yeah, I'm a fangirl. But for motorsports, I'm literally just a fan. I'm just a fan of sport. You would never call someone a fanboy. So why are we referred to as fangirls?
Except for Maddie. You'd call Maddie a fanboy.
Matty calls himself a fanboy.
Yeah, he called
Yeah.
himself
That's
that.
true, that is kind of self-prescribed.
No, he's just passionate.
He's just passionate.
Passionate, not a fan.
Not a fanboy, just passionate.
Fanboy.
Yeah, so you're a fan of the sport. You don't have, fans of the sport and then fangirls. That's not how it works.
Are we not allowed to be fans? Is this
Evidently.
a thing?
Fangirls in
Like,
football? Do you have fangirls in cricket? Do you have fangirls in basketball? No. So why do you have them in motorsport? Or why do they have to be a thing? Why
But-
can't you just be a fan?
Yeah, the term
Without
fangirl
having
comes
beef.
from excessive, like, girls that are fans of bands, so like, say like One Direction. One Direction have fangirls, they're like overpowering and very much like, it's when the majority is, a majority of the fan base are girls. They refer to people as fangirls. And
then-
it's mainly music orientated. You're
Yeah.
not fangirls in motorsport, you are fans of the sport.
Mhm.
In reply to that, lovely Chrissy, love you to pieces Chrissy if you're watching this, replied saying, she doesn't need to prove herself to people like you, Dale. I just said his name. Oh no. Laughable how you think girls just watch a
dear.
sport because of pretty boys. Which is true, because men have it such, like, has such a stigmatism over the fact that we apparently only watch it because, you know, we think they're pretty.
Like,
They're pretty.
I have a serious question as to what men think
Pretty
we
boys.
find attractive, because I'm not trying to be mean, but there's probably a handful of drivers that you could say, out of all three series, Formula 3, Formula 2, Formula 1, that you could say are attractive.
At the
No,
end of the day.
okay, I'm going to put it
No,
out
I'm
there.
not being
My
funny, but I'm
favourite
not
driver is Max Verstappen.
Yeah.
And I can tell you now he's not my favourite because he's good looking.
No. There's just so many that you're just like, okay, but what do you think, yes, I find a man with a helmet attractive. Just put a helmet on and I'm gone for you, mate. Like, that's not how this
See,
I mean, it's warm.
It has to be a
That's
pretty
what I
helmet,
look for in men, is when they cover their faces with helmets.
Yeah.
Perfect. Don't have to look at him.
Yeah.
Makes
Fine.
life so much easier.
some of us are
Some
gay,
men-
Dale. Some of us are gay. We don't care. We don't care.
Some of them would be noncing if they did.
Christ. Yeah, could you imagine? Could you imagine if Kristen's favourite driver was like 15 and someone was like,
Oh.
you only like them because they're pretty? That is
I'm like,
not
they
okay.
could be my son.
That
No,
is not
they
okay.
could be my son.
Literally.
That is not okay.
Unacceptable. Unacceptable.
I feel like I'm gonna break out in hives because I'm like, they could be my kid. They could be my kid. Like, they could literally be my kid. I mean, like, I'd be a real young mom. I'll give you that. But they could be my kid. God. Sorry. I didn't expect to have such a visceral reaction to that.
Don't
But
worry.
it is that's the point. It's just like, dude. Like, and I look at some of these younger drivers, and I'm just like, oh, you're still figuring life out. You haven't like, even finished growing.
Like Teo Porcher.
Like-
Oh no, he's 17 now, but he has been.
He's 17.
He's only just 17. Freshly turned 17 yesterday as we're filming this. And
2 days.
Is Stanek 17,
sorry,
yeah?
2 days. Stanik's 16 as well. But
16.
Teo Porcher is one of my favourite drivers in the Formula 3 grid. Why? Because he is an insane driver. But the guy is 16. And if someone turned to me and was like, you only like Teo Porcher because you think he's cute, that is not okay. That is not
be like,
okay. That is a 16-year-old boy. I like him because he's an insanely talented driver. One of the most talented drivers on the Formula 3 grid. When I look at the Formula 3 grid, I look at him and go, you can make it to F1. And there's not many that I
Yeah.
can look at and go, you'll make it to F1. But he will. He is a rookie.
The argument
in
is
F1.
like, 16, you're over 18. You're like, you only like him because he's pretty. Like, 'cause that's illegal. But thank you for your observation of
That's
incorrect
illegal.
information. It's illegal.
One of my favourite comments was the lovely Dale's response to this. He said,
Stop saying his name.
Dale, I'm coming for you. I forget if you are female and watch sport, we are not allowed to question your opinion. First of all, no matter the gender, questioning an opinion is, the way he's expressed it, you don't question someone's opinion, but you can discuss your opinion with somebody else's and have a formal discussion about opinions. That's fine. Women in motorsport are very happy to have formal conversations with men about, our opinions of motorsport. happy to do it with anyone, not just because we're a woman. Then getting all sexist on a man, daring to disagree. Who is the one who has made this a male-female debate? My discussion is DT and his track record. So Jess goes, can I quote something? Don't be a blind fangirl. Prove you know the sport more than following the pretty boys.
Yes!
And he
Yes!
did not respond! Proving men wrong.
Yes, girl! Sorry, I yelled a bit there, but I'm very excited.
He also replied to the thing saying, no, I never said anything about her being a girl, just being blinded by fandom for a driver. Chill your beans. As I say the same to fanboys too, so don't be a... That's a swear word. Trying to make people opinions to be sexist when they aren't. And then he said something very inappropriate afterwards. Which, first of all, that English is...
Poor.
frazzled my brain completely. But men like that will attack a woman and bring up their gender and then attack them because they're a woman in motorsport. And they go, no, I didn't say anything about your gender.
Yeah, but the thing is we had it in tweets. We could quote.
So then,
we have photographic
Yes.
evidence.
so then the lovely Molly replied and said, you literally said blind fangirl. But no, of course, you didn't mention anything about her being a girl. And if you're not sexist, don't say she's got to prove she knows more about the sport rather than just being there for the pretty boys. So he said, yep, and I literally have also said the same to blind fanboys. You really are touchy over Dan, aren't you? Smiley goes, nah, not touchy, mate. Just think you should
Is
grow up
that the,
and not get pressed over young female fans of the sport that see the bigger picture. Guess what? People change. Who would have thought it, right? Yes, Kelsey?
is I get...
Is Dale the unlucky man who got into a bit of an argument with Dorothy too?
Yes. Yeah.
Dorothy's
he's
favourite
always
comment
that
on
Dale.
one side.
From Dorothy.
It's that one.
He is not going to do things with you. That man.
Yes.
Yeah.
No.
You know I was angry because I used punctuation. I never use punctuation. I used punctuation because I was that mad. I was like, absolutely not. And I also got really sarcastic because I was like, oh my god, you're just like contradicting yourself constantly. And I was like, first of all, you are a grown-ass man. You are a grown adult of the male species. Jess is 16. I was like, stop attacking a child. Like, Jess is baby. I see Jess, I think Jess is protected at all costs.
Very smart
by
one at
everybody
that.
very
Probably
smart
the
one.
smartest, smartest person I know.
I was just like, honestly, and I was like, no, this isn't, you don't get to say this. Not to Jess, not at your age, and not when she's at her age. I was like, this is incorrect, and it's very wrong in all senses of the word. So I was like, no, I'm not having it.
Apparently being a fan of a driver and defending them is wrong,
Yeah, but
according to
you all
everyone.
know me. I'm not a fan of Dan.
Hmm.
He's a great. It's like I'm not a fan of many drivers, like proper fan of many drivers. I appreciate their driving, and I think Dan's great, but I wouldn't class myself as his fan. Not for any other reason other than the fact that I just support other drivers over him. Just because it's like, I don't have anything against the bloke or anything. I think he's amazing. But I'm not a fan of him. So when he was like, well, you're really touchy over Dan, I was like, you knew. I was like,
Only
I
you.
don't care.
No,
Like, Dan could have won that race, and I'd be like, good on you, mate. But look what this driver further down the... Like, it's just... I was just like, yeah, he's great. But I'm not touchy over him. I don't protect Dan because I am not his biggest fan. So I was protecting Jess. I was like, I'm not touchy. I'm going to hit you in the face. Because you literally called her a fangirl and then said that you weren't sexist and that you never brought up gender, but you used the words fangirl. And I was like, no.
I don't even
Sure,
think
that's
that one's the worst one. It was the casual women.
Casual women.
That one got
Yeah.
me. That one got me. I have so many...
Casual woman, fangirl. Watching it for the pretty boys, like, and then he's not
I didn't bring
sexist.
gender
It was
into
just
it.
the
I'm
fact that
not
he was
sexist.
so close-minded.
He has short-term memory loss.
Yeah, it's the fact that he was so close-minded. I was like, people grow up. Like, I'm sorry, but you're not the same person you were when you were 16.
No.
Like, people grow, people learn from mistakes. Why didn't he, like, I just couldn't figure out why that was so difficult for him to comprehend. Like, there's no science, like, you don't have to be a brainiac to figure out that people grow up. Big shock, I know. God forbid people learn from
Oh my god, it's been
mistakes, but,
5
you know,
years.
happens.
Literally, and
I
like,
think for some of these fans, like you, I feel like it's very easy sometimes for fans to be like, not realize that there has been growth there, because they just see the driver and I see you this one way, so that must be the way that you've always been, or you've made one mistake in the past, so that's how you're always going to be, because that's the biggest thing I remember about you, because we're not in their personal lives, we're not seeing them all day or talking to them on a day-to-day basis, and the media reminds them of, oh, they made this one mistake, and so I feel like some fans, it's very easy for them to just be like, this is how this person is, when it's like, no, if you look at the progression over time, like, people grow and change and mature.
That's my argument with Max Verstappen. I mean, look how he was when he first started. Yes, he was a bit reckless. He made mistakes. He crashed into people, not necessarily on purpose, but it was easily avoidable. Look at him now. He is regarded as one of the most amazing drivers the sport has ever had. I'm like, he's grown up. Why is it so difficult for people to understand that Dan Ticktum's grown up? Everybody grows up. People are so accepting of Max when he changed and how he wasn't. Yes, he's still a very aggressive driver, but he's nowhere near as what he was when he started. And he started F1 when he was like, what, 16, 17?
17,
now,
I think it was.
He's now in his 20s.
Yeah, 17.
The man's grown. The man knows how to race properly now. Yeah. I was like,
he's also grown off the
Max
track
growing.
too.
yeah.
You can accept Max growing and learning from his mistakes, but you can't accept Dan Ticktum. Like, it doesn't make sense.
It's not even the fact that he couldn't accept that Dan Ticktum is grown. It was the fact that he couldn't accept that us women were saying he was grown.
Yeah.
I think if another guy had said it, he would have been like, oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
Coming back at you with this statistic again, is that statistically women are much more emotionally understanding. Like, emotional strength is much higher, and their understanding of people and their caring ability is much higher than men, which essentially, take it from somebody. I've been in Dan Ticktum's stream since his first ever stream. That literally at one point there was 2 people. It was me and Jules, and we would watch, and it got to a point where there was like 5 or 6 people there, and some people came along to troll from Tumblr, and they were just trying to push his buttons a bit, and he handled that insanely well. And he even sat down and spoke through the fact that he has changed a lot as a person, and he was talking about how he is a completely different person, and he admitted he still has anger problems, which he does. Most of the drivers on the Blade Grid do. But he said he admits he's changed, and he understands everything that he did wrong, and it's something he would never do again, and he understands why he was wrong, and like what he did wrong. And he was so open about sitting there and admitted that he was wrong. And like, for someone to actually admit that what they've done is wrong and that they're growing from it is like insane. Like, obviously we can do a whole thing talking about Dan Ticktum and like Max Verstappen and like reckless, in quotation marks if you're listening to this rather than watching, quotation marks around reckless, like drivers and stuff. But like, as women, we, understand that people grow and change, and we're accepting of that.
I think the commentator, not Alex Jakes, I can't remember his name.
Peter Windsor.
Thank you. I don't
Peter
think
Windsor,
he
yeah.
made it better. I don't think he helped the situation. So then when you get like Jess tweeting saying, because he took it a lot of people took the radio message the wrong way. I understand how you can. But when like Jess tweeted about it and stuff, obviously a man of a probably similar age heard the commentator say that, then sees a young female fan tweeting saying that's not what he meant, and he doesn't like that. But if you listen to it, I mean, admittedly, yes, at first listen to it, you think, geez, you probably shouldn't have said that. And then when you listen to it again, you understand really what he said and what he meant. But it was just the way he just came at Jess as if to be like, you don't know anything. And it's like, you don't even know her. How do you know that she doesn't
Yeah.
How do you know that she's a fangirl just because she's, like, stood up for a driver who had been taken the wrong way? I was just like, you can't attack somebody that you don't even know. How would you know that she... And, like, it was just the way he was like, prove yourself. And I was like, why does anybody have to prove anything, ever?
Prove it!
You should never, ever have to prove yourself in any situation, because you then just second guess yourself. But then people look at you and they just don't trust you. And you're like, well, why do I have to prove
The other
what
thing
I
too
know?
is,
This is
I
my
don't know
opinion.
I don't know you from Adam's house cat, mate. I don't have to, and it's online. I've never met you. I don't have to prove anything to you. Like, and why do you need me to? Like, that's kind of
Why
weird.
does that go? And then it was like, oh, they don't need. And then he just like backtracked. You're like, oh no, you said it now. It's what you said has been said. It's the damage has been done.
Yeah.
Say it with
Yeah.
your chest.
Seriously, and then it's like, oh god, now she's fighting back and she's right
Yeah, there's
and
like
she's
three
better
of
at
us.
it than
It was-
me.
There was like Chrissy,
Oh,
Jess,
dear.
and me that were just
Oh,
attacking
dear.
this one man. Like, absolutely not. And he was like, no, I didn't say that. And I'm like, sorry, should we just backtrack a couple steps?
Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause
I got receipts.
Just slowly
Tweet,
started
tweet.
seeing deleted tweet. Tweet is unavailable.
I've seen
Yeah.
someone replied to my tweet and I've deleted it since, and I've seen it and I'm like,
Mm. Yeah, because Jenny was in a completely different drama of her own.
Go on,
Jenny's
what did
like,
Jenny
oh.
do?
I love Jenny.
Jenny's tweet regarding... So this was regarding Will Buxton, who did not handle the situation very well at any point.
No.
Calling people names. So Jenny responded, saying, the only driver to make a huge effort in raising funds for Lebanon, which he did. He did a whole charity stream. He raised like £500 for Lebanon. The only driver to do anything, apart from a couple of drivers, Max Futrell and George Russell were the only two that I saw. I think Lando Norris might have done. Posted on their Instagram story about it. But apart from them, nobody else did anything. And Dan Tictum did a whole stream raising money for Lebanon. And if you don't know anything about it, I'll leave information in the Dropbox below for you to educate yourself on it. And she put, that hasn't been mentioned anywhere. The bloke has never said he was going to crash into him purposely. He said if he carries on, they would. And then there's a whole bunch of argument between a couple of people. And where Jenny then says, what he said never meant to imply he was going to do something dangerous. He was simply saying, from his view, if the other guy wasn't careful, there'd be a crash. And the guy responded with, you appeared to be his girlfriend. I must give you credit for blind loyalty. So, it's
Jenny,
coming
why
out
didn't you
here
tell
that
me?
Jenny is dating Dan Tictum, apparently.
Wow,
Aside
Jenny,
from
why
the
did you
fact
not
that-
tell
oh,
me?
Jenny!
Jenny, why would you,
Sorry, Liz.
aside from the fact that doesn't Dan already have a girlfriend?
Yeah, Liv.
Yep.
She's a very pretty woman.
Sorry, Liz.
Jenny! I didn't know.
Jenny, you homewrecker.
But it's just the fact that Jenny was, the only reason that Jenny could possibly be supporting Dan as being a changed man and that the whole thing was taken out of context was purely because he was dating Jenny. Which,
I think the Dorothy one was better.
well, he accused Dorothy of wanting to, interact in an inappropriate manner in the bedroom. So-
Hey, wait.
And Dorothy then went and found a tweet that the guy had tweeted about Lewis Hamilton and said that, he definitely wanted to. Rather interesting, but she had deleted most of the tweets for that, and so has he. So there are no tweets. But yeah, so not only are men not so nice to women in motorsport online, but they're also not very nice to women in motorsport offline either. And none of this is going to end unless women actually come together and stand up for everything. And you have to come together in, as one to stand up, whether you are a fan of the sport, whether you are in any sort of job in the industry, whether you are even an outsider looking in and don't have any care in the world of the sport. Women in general just need to stand together, and especially in such a male-dominated place. Nothing's going to change if we don't make a change ourselves. We also haven't figured out how the frick we end this thing. So it's kind of...
Hey guys, thanks for watching. See you next time.
Peace out.
Make sure to comment and like and subscribe.
And hit the bell.
Hit the notification bell to find
Hit
out
the
when
bell
we
for no-
post. Make sure you follow our blog, chasingthestars.co.uk. Follow all of these beautiful beans on their Twitters and their Instagrams and everything.
It just reminds me, you said they're a talented bean, and you went, wait, I can't say that.
I can't call someone a talented bean. But yeah, we hope you enjoyed. We hope you enjoy these like little sit down. I was going to say little sit down. This is a long sit down. I don't know how long it'll be after I edited it down. But if you do actually want to sit and listen to us talk about stuff all together as well, obviously you'll see me and Jess quite often. But if you want to see Jenny, Kristen, Kelsey, Molly back, we do have something planned with Kelsey, which you should see. So if there's anything you want to see me and Jess speak about, if you want to see anything of us speaking about, we'll hopefully get Gabby in next time because we really missed you this time, Gabby. Then please let us know. And yeah, if you have anything that you want to hear us talk about, please let us know as well. Follow all our socials, keep up to date with everything. We'll see you guys next Sunday. Or actually, no, we'll see you Monday for a new post because there'll be a post down on CTS. So yes, adios, goodbye, ciao. Auf Wiedersehen, au revoir. Can't think of any other ways to say goodbye. Kristen?
Aloha, das vidanya,
Ciao.
sayonara.
Ciao.
Bye.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Bye.
That's what we got.